Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 643, Mayberry Meetup 2021. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out some of the great Mayberry items that they have for you, including Miracle Salve. That's right, they have Miracle Salve. It could possibly cure things like poison ivy, athlete's foot, prickly, rash, complexion, and other things, but we're not guaranteeing it. But we know it's good hand cream, so head over to Weaver's Department Store and check it out. While you're there, you might want to check out some of the Mayberry Man movie merchandise that Weavers has, including hats and all kinds of stuff. Head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 643 is Richard Mink. Richard Mink from Richard Mink Photography. He's the one, if you ever see my little pictures on Facebook and stuff, my profile picture of Floyd standing beside the barber pole, Richard's the one that actually took that for me. So I want to thank Richard for that. And thank you, Richard, for supporting the show. And thank you for being here with me. We're going to talk about the Mayberry Meetup. We just had the 9th annual, can you believe it? 9th annual Mayberry Meetup. Just last weekend, weekend before last, in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And it was a great time. Had a great time there. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that. But let me tell you what's coming up in the show. We've got that we're going to talk about. We're going to hear from Randy Turner at the end of the show. And we're going to do a little bit of trivia in between. So I want to bring up some of the stuff that happened at the Mayberry Meetup. First, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So the Mayberry Meetup started in 2013 when I was heading to Mount Airy, North Carolina to interview Betty Lynn. Now those podcasts are available on the website, so you can go in there and look for them. You can find them. I should have looked that up, I guess, the very first one, but they're Betty Lynn interviews that I did back in 2013. So that would be episode number 250, actually. Start somewhere around that range, because that's Betty Lynn interview part 1. So to episode number 250 of the podcast, and we're at 400 episodes ago, nearly. We went up to interview Betty Lynn for the podcast. And when I was going, I thought, hey, I've heard a lot of podcasters who like to, when they're in a certain area, get together with the fans of the podcast. And I thought, well, okay, that might be kind of fun. So I mentioned that, hey, I'm going to be in Mount Airy this particular weekend. And if anybody's there, let's meet up and we'll go out and eat or something. Well, I thought probably nobody would be available to meet up, or maybe a couple of people, and we would just go out to a restaurant somewhere. Well, I think that first year, I'm not sure, we'd have to go back and listen, but I'm pretty sure we had 25 to 30 people that showed up. Well, then I felt guilt because I felt, well, if these folks are going to show up, I need to give them something to do. So I came up with the idea of showing episodes of the Andy Griffith Show on a screen at the gazebo at the Mayberry Motor Inn. So that's what we did in the evenings. We would show this on this little screen. It was if you have ever seen one, a projector screen that was one of those little ones that would pop up and pop out, and it's probably about maybe 35, 40 inches wide. That was about all it was. It was by today's standards, a very small screen, but we were projecting it onto that using a projector that I purchased just for the meetup. And we all fit inside the gazebo and we're able to have a great time. Well, things have changed. That was 8 years ago in 2013. This is our 9th Mayberry Meetup, and things have changed. And so when I arrived up in Mount Airy on Thursday, that was when it didn't start until Friday, the 16th. But when I arrived on Thursday, I wanted to get everything set up and make sure everything worked. And so we got the equipment out, we set it up at the gazebo, and folks that were already in attendance there or staying there at the motel at the Mayberry Motor Inn, they were able to join me outside, and we watched episodes of the Andy Griffith Show for, a couple of 3 episodes probably that night, just standing around talking and visiting. And that was kind of the precursor to the actual start of the 9th annual Mayberry Meetup. And it was fun. Everybody had a great time. It's a beautiful location. If you've never been to Mount Airy and maybe stayed at the Mayberry Motor Inn, the gazebo is a very welcoming place for everybody to gather and just sit and talk. It's a lot like going to Andy's front porch, and visiting there on the front porch. At least it is to me. I've always thought it's just a really cool place to be and sit and enjoy one another's company and everything. It's just a lot of fun. Anyway, so that was all on Thursday, but the thing hadn't even started yet. So to kick off the next morning, we headed over, Jan and I did, on Friday morning of the Mayberry Meetup. We headed over to the Snappy Lunch for breakfast. That's right. Well, actually for lunch. We didn't go there for breakfast. We went straight for lunch. And we were able to get us a pork chop sandwich and had a great time just there. And then Jan went and did some shopping. She went over to Wyatt's there in Mount Airy. That's a really neat place to go. It's Jan's one of her favorite stores. And she went there. We head over to the Andy Griffith Playhouse as well, because we needed to visit with the Surrey Arts Council and get them some information. And of course, while we were there, the hydrangeas were in bloom around the Andy Griffith and Opie statue, the Mayberry statue that's right outside the Andy Griffith Playhouse. And so we took pictures to try to get those hydrangea in the photo, because they're just so pretty. And it's just always a pleasure to get to be up close to those Andy and Opie statues when there's not a huge crowd. At Mayberry Days is normally when I'm in Mount Airy, and it's so crowded that you just really can't even get close to the statue more than for long enough just to get your picture made and walk away. So it was really nice to spend a little bit of time playing around and trying to get good photos of the playhouse and of the statues with the flowers, and get a good shot of Andy and Opie up close. But those are the kind of things you can do during the meetup, because it's a lot smaller, it's a lot less hectic than Mayberry Days. Now, not knocking Mayberry Days at all. I definitely recommend you go to Mayberry Days if you've never been. But if you want to kind of get your feet wet and go to Mount Airy and visit it when it's not huge crowds, the Mayberry Meetup's a great time to do it. As part of that, we went to see the folks down in the Surrey Arts Council, so I was looking at some of the exhibits and things that they have down in the Arts Council area that are Betty Lynn related, and also related to Jean Carson and the fun girl herself. There were a few things in there that I had not noticed before, and some I had noticed, like there's a Betty Lynn's Andy Griffith Show scripts. There's a couple of them in there that you can kind of look at. But Betty Lynn, Thelma Lou, if you don't know, when she was younger, she and her mother, Elizabeth Lynn, had painted these, I don't know how to describe them. They're tiles. It's basically a tile. And she and her mother would paint these, and she would actually make money doing these designs. So she still has several of them, and they're on display there in the museum. Artwork that Betty Lynn did when she was younger. And it's just, it's very neat. It's right there at the Surrey Arts Council office, right outside the door. There's a big TV that plays Betty's photos and discusses and talks about some of the drawings and paintings. Now, another place you might want to go that I always enjoy going, now that I've discovered it, which has been there forever, but it's the Dairy Center. I went to the Dairy Center and I got me some banana pudding ice cream. Now, I don't know about you, but banana pudding is great. And so I was not too sure about the banana pudding ice cream until I got it. So if you're ever in Mount Airy, head over and get you some banana pudding ice cream. If you like banana pudding. If you don't, they got other kinds of ice cream too. But it's definitely worth heading over there and checking it out. It's just an old drive-in type place, diner, that you can go and get some fun stuff. Now, finally, on Friday night, we started actually kicking off the Mayberry Meetup, the actual official activities. Normally on the Friday of the Mayberry Meetup, we get to go and see Betty Lynn because she's signing autographs at the museum. Well, because of the COVID stuff and everything, she's not doing that yet. She did a little test run in June and just didn't feel like that was something she wanted to be doing consistently. So we didn't get to do that. But then about 6 o'clock, 6:30, everybody started gathering at the gazebo at the Mayberry Motor Inn on that Friday night. And tribute artists got up and started telling stories. Folks brought their lawn chairs out and sat around the gazebo and so they could see the screen. And we told stories about cast members that we had met over the years and the events that we had been a part of and met and talked to some of the cast members. And that was I think a fun time for everyone. And we did that until it finally got dark. And once it got dark, we were able to start showing the Andy Griffith Show on a big screen. Okay, it's really a sheet, but it's a big screen. And I projected on there, and we were able to watch several episodes and relax under the stars. We had the signs and everything. It said, tonight, relax under the stars. So the folks were able to sit around and listen to the episodes. And I purchased a device that lets me take the audio and I can broadcast it over a radio signal. So folks could sit wherever they wanted to, as long as they brought an FM radio, they could tune in and be able to hear all the audio during the episode. So it was really easy for everyone to be able to hear. There was a good crowd. I think there ended up being about 100 to 105 people. Not everybody signed our little book, but that's about how many were there that evening. And this was all on Friday evening, as the weather was absolutely perfect and everybody had a great time. So Saturday wasn't quite as good because the weather got kind of bad, but Saturday night we had a little more trouble. But Friday night was great. Everything went absolutely wonderful, and I think everybody had a good time. And even the next night that we'll get to in a minute, everybody had a good time. But the crowds were there. Chris Hudson was there from the Mayberry Effect, and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Chris Hudson is the filmmaker who's done the Mayberry Effect documentary, and it'll be coming out on digital August the 31st, and then eventually out on DVD and stuff, so we'll be able to all see it. And Weavers will carry it once it's on DVD, but if you can't wait, you can get it from iTunes and other places starting August 31st. You can head over to themayberryeffect.com to get more information. On Saturday, we headed over to the Loaded Goat, Jan and I did, and had a lunch at the Loaded Goat, which I definitely recommend there in Mount Airy. Our dessert, we headed over and got us some ice cream. This time it wasn't the banana pudding ice cream, but ice cream is ice cream. So there's just all kinds of things to do in Mount Airy, and I want to encourage you, if you go there, to take some time and do those things, because it's really fun. You get to go take your picture in front of the sign that says from Mayberry, Mount Airy, North Carolina. You can take a picture in front of the sign and send it to your friends. You can visit the museum. And we were lucky enough on that Saturday that Neil Brower was going to be in town doing one of his lecture series. And so he had a packed house there to listen to him. We watched an episode, and then he told us little inside tidbits and things that he has learned over the years. And so that was one of the highlights of the weekend, is getting to see Neil. And it was a completely packed area. It's great. We do it down in the theater of the Andy Griffith Museum, and they turn the lights down so you can see good, and everybody sits and listens and watches the episode, and then Neil gives a discussion for it about that episode. It's always great. Well, that evening we were going to have everybody get together at 6 o'clock and enjoy one another's company. And while it worked out good for the first 5 to 10 or 20 or 30 minutes, well, the rain came. And by rain, I mean the rain came. So for those of you that are listening only, I don't know if you can hear. You can almost hear the rain falling. Folks gathered under the gazebo to stay dry, and some folks just sat out in the rain with their umbrella. As we listened to music from the Andy Griffith Show, the screen blew over. We had to cover everything with tarps to try to keep it dry. But what a fun time we had anyway. Even with all the rain, people's smiles just kept coming. And, and then eventually the rain did stop. And we were able to set the screen back up and get everything back to normal so that we'd be able to have the rest of the stuff that night. The rain stopped well enough that folks were able to sit back in the gazebo and listen, but it was always kind of damp and wet. So basically folks took their radios that they had with them, or the radios there in the motor inn itself, and just turned them on so that they could listen sitting in their hotel room. They could still hear the episodes, and folks sat around outside their hotel rooms and in other places, just visiting and talking and having a good time. And it did not dampen our spirits at all. Folks said that it was an adventure and that they actually enjoyed it a lot. But we were able to show episodes, and people could listen to them. And all in all, it was just a great weekend. Then on Sunday morning, we did the Mayberry Bible study, and everybody was out and ready to go home by about 11 o'clock. So it was a fun, relaxing weekend. And I tell you all that not so that if you weren't able to attend, I know this is probably boring to you, but this is just to let you know what you can do, or what it is, so that maybe next year you could come and join us for the 10th Mayberry Meetup. We're trying to figure out something a little bit more special to do for the weekend, but it'll be pretty much the same. But it'll be our 10th Mayberry Meetup. That it all started kind of by accident, just because I asked people, hey, would y'all like to get together and meet up? So it was a great time. I had a lot of fun, and I got to visit with people a lot, and that's really one of the best things about the meetup. It's slow enough that you can visit with everybody pretty well. I didn't get to visit with everybody, but I got to visit with a lot of people. So for those of you who were able to attend, thank you for coming. I hope you had a great time. Those that weren't able to attend, I encourage you to come to the Mayberry Meetup, to come to Mayberry in the Midwest. Hopefully they'll have it next year. Come to Mayberry Days coming up later this year, and just experience a Mayberry event for yourself. And I think once you experience one, it might be catching. You might really enjoy yourself and want to just continue coming to do that. So, all right. So that's a report from the Mayberry Meetup. We have some other reports that some folks have written, and maybe in coming months here, weeks, I will throw in some of those, because there was some really nice reports that they gave. All right, so it's time to do some trivia. Let's do this one. That sounds like trivia music. So let's do a few trivia questions. Are you ready? All right. Oh, this one's too easy. All right. This is a true or false question. True or false question. So you can go ahead and guess if you want to. But the question is, the squad car was a 2-door model. True or false? The squad car was a 2-door model. True or false? I'm not going to wait too long on this one. So the answer is, and you can pause if you're watching later or listening later, the squad car was a 2-door model. The answer to that is it's false. The squad car has 4 doors. You knew that. All right, number 2. Where did the Fun Girls live? Where did the Fun Girls live? Where were the fun girls from, or where did they live? All right, the answer is coming up here. Where did the fun girls live? They lived in Mount Pilot. The fun girls from over at Mount Pilot. All right, so if you got that one, that was number 2. What were their names? What were the names of the fun girls? You got to get them both. What were the names of the fun girls? So you knew they're from Mount Pilot, but what were their names? What were the names of the fun girls? All right. So the answer is, I wish I had a drum roll. The answer is the names of the fun girls were Skippy and Daphne. And Daphne was the hello doll. She was that one. So there you go. All right. So there's a multiple choice coming up with question 4. Ready? How many dogs did Barney take out to the field? You know, in dogs. How many dogs does Barney take out to the fields? A, was it 1, B, 3, C, 5, or D, 11? How many dogs did Barney take out to the field? 1, 3, 5, or 11? Folks in the chat room are getting this one quick. The answer is D, 11. 11 dogs. There's 11 dogs that took out there. I'm not going to say anything because I might give away another answer. All right, number 5. True or false? Andy played the tuba. True or false? Andy played the tuba. True or false? Okay. Yeah, D was the correct answer on the last one. D, 11. I didn't say D, I just said 11, but yes. Andy played the tuba. True or false? The answer is true. Andy played the tuba. Yes. All right. Number 6. Who was the president of the Mayberry Bank? This one's a little harder. Who was the president of the Mayberry Bank? Think about that one for a second. Who was the president of the Mayberry Bank? Floyd played the trombone, Lydia. Lydia in the chat room said she thought it was the trombone that Andy played. Yeah, how can you? I was a founder. A founder. All right. So who was the president of the Mayberry Bank? The answer is Mr. Meldrum. Mr. Meldrum. Okay, Mr. Meldrum was the president of the Mayberry Bank. All right. So that was 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7. Why didn't Otis drink pop? Why didn't Otis drink pop? Lydia didn't care what Andy played. It wasn't, as long as it wasn't the guitar. She hates the guitar. That's right. Why didn't Otis drink pop? Okay. I'll give you one more second to think about it. I see the answer coming in the chat room. Why didn't Otis drink pop? It was bad for his liver. It's bad for his liver. All right, we're going to go. All right, number 8. I'm doing 10 tonight, looks like. Number 8. Where would Gomer go if he were a spider? This is supposed to be multiple choice. I'm not going to give it to you. Where would Gomer go if he were a spider? Okay. I'm not going to give you the multiple choice until the last one. I'll give you multiple choice. Okay. So where would Gomer go if he was a spider? Would he go in a closet, in a freezer, under the bandstand, or under the bed? Where would he go? So the answer is Gomer would go under the bandstand. If I was a spider, that's where I'd go. He goes under the bandstand. All right, two more. We'll even this out. All right, here's our next one. Who offered everyone he met a bite of his sandwich? Who offered everyone he met a bite of his sandwich? Oh, do y'all know his name? Some people might not know it. If you don't know it, that's fine. Just you describe it to yourself and you can decide whether you got it. But I can tell you who it was. Who was it that offered a bite of his sandwich every time he met them? It was Leon. No thanks, Leon. No thanks. He'd hold it up. And of course, that was Clint Howard. All right. So, what kind of sandwich did Leon usually have? So we know it's Leon now. He was offering that sandwich. What kind of sandwich was it? What kind of sandwich did Leon usually have? All right. Ready? So what kind of sandwich did Leon usually have? It was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's exactly right. Oh, so Leon was played by Clint Howard, Ron Howard's little brother, and he did a fine job of that too. He's only 5 years old. He was a little bitty guy, and Clint has said before he doesn't remember a lot of the stuff that happened at that time. He doesn't remember it very well. So you had 10 questions. How'd you do? Did you get 9, 8, 4, 0? Doesn't matter as long as you had fun, right? So, all right. So now we're going to go and hear from This Week in Randy Turner. Randy was unable to do one this week, so we're hearing a rerun. But this is a good one, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. So let's go hear from This Week in Randy Turner.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by Special Correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Goober Pile Comic Book Literary Guild for the Mayberry Historical Society.
It's me, it's Ernest T. Bass.
Ernest T. What?
How do you do, Randy Turner?
I'm not Randy Turner. I'm the announcer. What you mean you're not Randy Turner?
I'm here to meet Randy Turner. I like him because he learns me a lot.
Yeah.
When I listen to him right here on this hair contraption.
Yeah, that's
yes,
good.
he helps me with my true love romance.
Well, that's sweet.
I want to meet him. If you don't let me meet him,
I'm going to pick up this here rock and heft it right through their window.
No, you won't.
I will.
I won't.
Will.
I won't.
Will.
what?
Man, now, Ernest.
Randy Turner, where are you?
He's strange, this one.
Jerry Van Dyke was born on July the 27th, 1931. Jerry appeared only once in The Andy Griffith Show, playing Jerry Miller on the last black and white episode of the series. Jerry Miller was the Sultan in the Sultan's Favorite Carnival Show, which really meant he was a one-man band, playing banjo, kazoo, and drums simultaneously. After he had been let go by the manager, Andy invited him to dinner, and Jerry eventually filled in for Barney, against Andy's better judgment. Jerry is the younger brother of Dick Van Dyke, and has had a wonderful career of his own. Shortly after Jerry served a stint in the military, Dick starred in his first hit TV show, The Dick Van Dyke Show. Just like The Andy Griffith Show, Dick's show was produced by Danny Thomas and Sheldon Leonard, the latter of whom sometimes directed, and had music provided by Earl Hagen. Jerry eventually made his national TV debut on an episode, playing Rob Petrie's banjo-playing brother, Stacy. This led to Jerry appearing on The Ed Sullivan Show and being made a regular on The Judy Garland Show. He also played supporting roles in several films, including 1963's The Courtship of Eddie's Father, starring Ronnie Howard as Eddie. Jerry was sought after for more than one series. He was offered the title role in Gilligan's Island, but turned it down, partially because he was not overly interested in being part of an ensemble cast, hoping to instead replicate his older brother's success in fronting his own show. It is likely the latter reasoning only that caused him to turn down a second offer to be a regular character, though not the lead, and that offer came from the producers and star of The Andy Griffith Show. When Jerry appeared in Mayberry in the last black and white episode, the producers had already known for quite some time that Don Knotts would not be returning. So in addition to being a guest star on the show, his appearance was also, in a way, an audition to see if the character of Jerry Miller might serve as a replacement for the departing Barney Fife. The producers liked the results and offered Jerry the permanent role. However, just as he had done previously with Gilligan's Island, Jerry turned it down. He has since said it is a decision he regrets. This is likely especially true, as the series he did choose to star in was My Mother the Car, widely viewed as one of the worst television shows ever produced. In this 1965 series, Jerry played attorney David Crabtree, who bought a 1928 antique car upon learning it was the reincarnation of his deceased mother, Gladys. Perhaps on paper, the concept might have seemed workable, since there were a number of fantasy-based sitcoms accepted by the public, including Mr. Ed, which featured a talking horse. But the show was a failure and only lasted a single season. Despite the reception of My Mother the Car, Jerry continued to work steadily, including co-starring with Andy Griffith in the 1969 film Angel in My Pocket. And he eventually hit pay dirt with his role as Luther Van Dam on Coach from 1989 to 1997, the role for which he is best known. That's it for this week. As always, thanks for listening, and remember to take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Well, thank you, Randy. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of the fun that Randy is doing online and in other places, send him an email at turnersgrade@gmail.com, turnersgrade@gmail.com, and he'll keep you in the loop and make sure you know what's going on. And I will say that during the report, he said it was Rob Petrie, and it's Petrie, and it's really Petrie. I think I got that right. And Randy corrected that the next week in his next update. But since we probably won't hear that one, I wanted to make sure I corrected it for him. And for anyone that's concerned, Randy is having a great time with his family on vacation. So he is busy having fun. So he is taking some well-deserved time just for himself to just recharge and keep the Mayberry blood flowing. So thanks to Randy. I would like to go ahead and mention too that Randy's going to be in some places. If you're in Missouri, on August the 31st, he's going to be in Marceline at the Marceline City Market. He's going to be doing a meet and greet there. And then later that day, I assume it's the same day, he's going to be at the Bethany Baptist Church, same city, and going to be doing a presentation. And then on the next day, so this is all on the 31st of August. So September 1st, he's going to be doing a speaking appearance at the Blood Brothers chapter of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club in Macon, Missouri. And then on the 2nd, he's going to be doing another appearance, guest speaking at the 1820 restaurant in Keedysville, Missouri. So if you're in Missouri, look that up on his website. If you go to the website for Randy, it's mayberrybooks.com, you'll be able to check out his appearance schedule. You might want to be involved. All right, so that is all I have for us this evening or this night or this episode, whatever time you're listening to it. And I hope you have enjoyed yourself. I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415, or you can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. And if you're at the meetup, call in and let us know about it. Give us a call. Talk about it. Tell everybody how great it was, or it was terrible, whichever it was. Because folks would love to hear other people's opinion rather than mine, because I might be biased. It's possible. So I'd love to hear from you. I hope everybody has a great Mayberry week. And until next week, go out there and spread some Mayberry spirit, and we'll see you here on on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.